Well, look who do we have here, Mary Beth. It's a Friday.
It's Friday, and
It's-
it's a really nice day, and it's
it's-
golf tournament
The
day.
golf tournament's going on. There's a grand opening of a new behavioral health
Yeah,
hospital that accepts children
yeah.
right in Plainfield. So we got a lot going on, and we've had a lot going on.
You all have been busy, and we sure appreciate everything, and lots of communication and collaboration, and it's just, everything's going well. We just need to keep doing what we're doing.
That's right. But we would like to say we really do appreciate, because the level of activity is going up, 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 up. And you all are helping us just meet the need.
Evening shift last night,
Woo.
5 kiddos.
Yeah. And one,
And
that's a lot. That
That's a
is a
lot.
lot. So we have a bigger team now. We have our new therapist on call. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We have Chad Good. Chad Good is going to be leaving us, but he'll be really close by. He's actually just going to be a peer recovery specialist with the ACT team.
So we may still be working with him.
Yeah, he's still CCBHC. He's still
Yeah.
under that umbrella. So we wish you the well, Chad, and we'll see you around. So it's like, but let's start with the 13 tools. Mary Beth, I see you selected
I
the
did.
number
You know
one
what?
thing,
It's
consumers
really
first.
the
Oh
most
man,
important. And I
it's
tell
at the
you,
top.
We
Talk
have,
about that.
we have lots of examples every day, multiple times a day, where we're putting consumers first. And, you know, the big thing with consumers first is being positive, okay? No judgment zone, okay? You know, they walk through the door at different levels of crisis. Keep in mind that a crisis to them, it may not be a crisis to us. So whatever comes through our door, or, you know, comes through the phone, then we really need to address it, no matter what it is. And, you know, they may have called 10 times before, but we have to address it the 11th and the 12th time.
And the 20th time.
The 20th time. Just keep that in mind. It's really, we are in no judgment zone. Okay, so to me, that is number 14, you know, when it comes to access, no judgment zone. So, and to be thinking as an action item, what do you do to support consumers being first? Is it how you greet them? Is it how you check on them? You know, is it how you interact with them? However it is, keep in mind, how are you doing that? And then if you see other good examples from another coworker of how they're doing it, hey, take it. You know, oh, I like the way they did that. I'm going to start using that tactic. So
I like that little twist you did on that, Mary Beth. That is a good action item. So it's like, not only is it what do I do to put consumers first, but also what have you seen others do?
Others do.
That is a nice action item. You're
Yeah.
full of surprises, Mary Beth.
Yeah.
You are full of surprises.
So, you know, really, that is really near and dear to all of us,
Yeah.
the consumers. Hey, we wouldn't be here if, unfortunately, people are in crisis, okay? But it's a privilege to be able to take care of them when they're in crisis. So keep that in mind, and we'd love to hear your ideas.
Yeah, we look forward. That's a very easy action item, and I'm glad that's a great one to start off with, because that's the number one thing on your badge: consumers first. So we always want to keep the consumers at the forefront, how we are receiving them, how we're responding to them. I know the other day we had a consumer that was just really frustrated because the prescription thing didn't open till 1 p.m. and he was going ballistic. He was going all out. But you know what? We weren't judging him. You know what, the public safety officer, we got him a wheelchair,
Yeah.
and we got him.
Yeah.
The thing is, he went off. The pharmacy opened at 1 p.m. He calmed down a little bit, but he was still frustrated.
Yeah.
Got him a wheelchair.
Yep.
Hey, wow.
It doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much. And that's the beauty of it.
It really doesn't. So it's like, we're just showing people that we care. So just remember that, consumers first. Now, this thing that we're talking about, the importance of the Columbia and the safety plan, we're going to debrief on this scenario with the couple. Because that scenario, I mean, it lasted over several days.
Several days.
And we want everyone to just kind of know, because it gives a great picture of just how all the parts in the Access Center work together. And so here's the thing, you know how Mary Beth and I, we always say, hey, phone a friend. And you know, I phoned a friend on that, because I actually asked a friend. So when the way this scenario originally started off is the wife called the Access Center. So what's the point? That Access specialist, right? And the Access specialist said, okay, we encourage you to come in. When she arrived, she was intent on putting her husband on an emergency detention. So she's like, he needs help. So, you know, I brought her in the room, talked to her for a while, and the information that she was sharing with me, it did not meet the criteria.
No,
it did not. Because like with the emergency detention, it's got to be within 24, 48 hours. Isn't that right?
That's right.
And so she was sharing all these things, and I was asking I was prodding. And here's the thing, the reason I'm emphasizing this, like when we're doing the emergency detention, we have to ask a lot of questions up front, because we really want to get the details that they meet the criteria. And so she shared all the information with me. And really the last time that the person, her husband, had demonstrated this, I think it was like maybe a week ago, a week and a half ago or something. And he wasn't doing anything kind of really did now. So I listened to all the information. I took it in. I had my notepad. You all know, like I walk around like with these notes. I had my notes.
You had a lot of notes.
I had a lot of notes on that page. I was like,
they were good notes.
They were good notes. And I was like, you know what I need to do? I need to phone a friend. So I said, could you just hold it a second? And I didn't have a phone, so I just walked over there. I said, Mary Beth, could you come in here? And so then what happened? Mary Beth and we both listened again to what she was saying.
And you know, that's a good example that we say,
yes,
you can't work independently on your own.
You just can't do it.
You have to work with other people. It takes more than one brain. And you know, then you're making a sound decision on how you can support this situation. So really, there's a lot of beauty to that.
And so here's the interesting thing about it. So at that time, the wife was just really concerned about the safety of the husband. So what we did is we said, well, do you think he'll answer a call from us? And she said, I don't know. So you know what we did? We just called. And when we called, we just said, I didn't even let the person know that his wife is here. I just said, hello, this is Hamilton Center. And I want you all to pay attention to this, because this type of scenario could pop up. And you need to think about, what would we do in the situation? So I wasn't letting them. I said, hello, this is the Hamilton Center. We just heard you had a rough day today. That's how I started it off.
It was smooth too, because I thought, okay, how's he going to react to this?
Yeah, that's right. It's like, how's he going to react? There's a lot. I said, hey, I'm from the Hamilton Center. Heard you've had a rough day today, so we're just calling just to see how things are going and how we can help out. That's how we approached it. Using that approach, he opened up.
He did. He
opened up. So it's like, you know how some people are like, no, no. Just that, it's like that entry point, he opened up. And then he asked me a follow-up. He said, well, how did you find out? I said, well, your wife told us. So here's the thing. So I could have, how you start a conversation can really impact what happens next. So I was not doing the lead that, hey, your wife just came in here, she wants to ED you. No, you can't do it like that.
No.
So
you've got to ease into it.
That's
and
right.
Really, as Art talked, you could feel the rapport building between the client and Art. And really that rapport paid off throughout the next several days.
It's golden. That rapport. So like the number one thing we all have to be sensitive to is like building that type of rapport. So we were able to get the husband opened up, and then we just asked him, hey, would you be willing to come in? And at first it's like, well, I don't have a transportation. I said, well, we'll come and get you. So like, here is the thing. It's like, the thing we want to convey to all of our consumers is, we're here to help.
We're
And
gonna make it happen.
we're gonna make it happen. And we have a powerful way as the person that can facilitate, because they were having a lot of tension going on, and we were just facilitating, hey, these at least talk to each other. So we got them to come in, and then I'll let Mary Beth kind of take it from there with the next step.
Another thing you want to follow up on that, consumers love to give you dead ends.
That's
Oh,
right.
can't, they got this, got
Yep.
that. But Art kept plowing through that. But anyway, then once he came, he kind of piddled around for a while.
We
And
followed up. So like I told him I was going to call you in the next 30 minutes. And I called him in the next 30 minutes.
Yes.
So he was like, these people are serious. So we got
Yes.
him here.
So that's a good example. If you're
Yeah.
if you say you're gonna follow up.
That's right.
So anyway, we got him here, and it really was probably within a couple hours.
Yeah, it
wasn't
was. Yeah.
He came on his bike. The wife was here. They met together
Yeah.
with the therapist. So, and then, they staffed it. They followed the protocol as far as staffing it.
And here's one thing I'd like to point out. The reason we're going in this level of detail is because literally all the stuff that we did on this day, which was Thursday, right? When we're fast forwarding, like what day did that happen? Was it Tuesday or something? So then there was another crisis that happened, but all the stuff we had done on that Thursday, which included, we had to go back and say, hey, we need to do a safety plan on this. All of these things, this is why we are saying, when we're emphasizing the safety plan, there's a reason, because this stuff, it comes back. And when it comes back, it usually doesn't come back in a nice, friendly package.
No, it didn't. And so, one of the things that you need to look at on this client, and we can send you the ID number, is the number of supplemental notes that support what we did in there. Okay, but the beauty of getting that safety plan done was that then the following, what was it, Monday or Tuesday?
I forget which day.
Okay, police ended up being involved. And
and the news.
And the
newspaper.
And the newspaper.
So this is the thing we're trying to emphasize with people. It's like you never know which situations are going to elevate to a point where your work, your name, the stuff you do is going to be on front and center and blast. And the thing we're trying to do is we're trying to ensure nobody gets in that situation. Because the first is going to front and center and blast is going to be me.
Right.
And so I'm going to do everything I can to protect everyone on our team. But so when we're saying follow up, do the Columbias, do the safety plans,
do the
supplemental notes, because in that situation, we had all the details. We had all the stuff we had done.
We had timestamps.
We
probably
had
a dozen timestamps.
That's right. And so there's no one, no matter how, whatever angle they wanted to take, whether it was from the media, because media is just going for sound bites, right? The media is going for a 2-second sound bite. We were prepared for it all. But the good thing about it is when we elevated to the actual crisis situation. So think about it. We just have a couple, they're dealing with some home issues. This elevated to the special task force, the SWAT team of Vigo County Sheriff's Department is involved. So think about it. We go from Thursday, we're dealing with couples, to the SWAT team is involved, and it's on prime time headline news, WTHI, and the newspaper. Because when I got home, I said, "Is this?" Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. And so we were still throughout that situation when the wife came back to us. We were there to support her.
We were, and then we also had some collaboration going with the the police and the sheriff department, because they actually came here
That's right.
to coordinate with the wife being able to get into the house.
Yeah.
So, it just had lots of levels of collaboration. But again, it goes back to the importance of following the process.
You got to
The
follow it.
assessment,
Yeah.
the Columbia, the safety plan, staffing with the on-call, documentation, following up. And, over the weekend, in between the time he was here and then the time the SWAT team was involved, we had lots of other interactions with him that are reflected in Essentia. So, he's currently on the inpatient unit.
So the husband is currently on the inpatient unit. And so here's with the emergency detentions. So throughout that process, we already had the emergency detention and all that stuff in place. So literally, like when the SWAT team ended their duty, what they did, they just went immediately to our emergency detention. Like they had they had it all right there. It's like, what do we do next? There's the emergency detention. So that's work that we literally did that helps the SWAT team in immediately. It's like within a microsecond, because once they're done, they're like, what happens next? It's emergency detention was already there.
Already there.
And so that was for the husband. And then for the wife, if you could explain what we did.
The wife, she was very traumatized.
Okay.
And it was clear that she needed some support.
Yeah.
And we offered that support. And we've had 2 different scenarios where we've offered her support. She was able to meet with a therapist. And then, we have continued to reach out to her and make sure she's okay. That family has multiple layers of stressors. There's some drug use, there's some issues with children, being high need children. There is an pending eviction. So lots and lots of layers of stress that really all came together, for that perfect storm.
And then one thing I'll emphasize, so the wife came in on this day when all this other stuff happened to basically sign the emergency detention. We had completed it the day before. She did not want to come in and sign it. But then when all this other stuff happened, she's like, oh, I better come in and sign it. So she signed it. But I think the thing that's important to understand is like, we always have, these things always seem to happen like in tidal waves. So it's like, when all that was going on, there was also a whole bunch of other stuff that was going on. And this is why it's important for our team just to really continue to communicate, collaborate, because when she initially came in just to sign the emergency detention, she signed the emergency detention, and then I believe she left and she was just sitting in our car. And when that happened, we were like, well, where did she go? And so what we did is we reached out to her like right then and there. And it is so important that we did. And so we need to be sure that we are really trauma informed, because this is a really traumatic situation. So we called her, we were able to get her before she left the parking lot. And when we reached back out to her, we said, hey, you need to come back in to the building, because she's going through a lot of trauma herself. And that decision to reach back out to her right then and there, that was the most critical thing to do, because she needed to be in one spot.
Yep.
She needed to be supported by people around and care, because then the next thing she knows, she's dealing like with the police and the SWAT.
There was a central location for the police to come.
That's right.
And so it really worked out well. And another thing I want to point out, while all that was going on, Art took the lead on, kind of standing by her outside with the police officer. I was working on a timeline because we knew that we may need that timeline.
That's right.
Access specialists were dealing with I think Chad was calling the judge.
Got it, yeah.
So, but then everybody else was taking care of other people that were in access. So you literally can see the layers of how everybody is, putting things into action. And again, that's the other thing is when you are getting overwhelmed.
Yeah, you just need to let us know.
Let us know, because we can do things.
Yeah, we have like many superpowers. That's what I said, many. But the thing is if we don't know, then we can't activate them. It's like we can't do it. So let us know when stuff is getting overwhelmed and all that, because it's like we can reach out, we can get support, we can help, we just need to know so that we can do that. But I can't overemphasize how important it was that we reached back out to her and we were able to catch her and get her back here, because otherwise it could have been just really bad.
Yeah.
Because she could have gone back to the house. I mean, it could have just been.
Yeah, so really, that's just example of taking really good care of people and seeing the whole picture.
Yeah, and it's hard to see the whole picture when things are moving that fast, but just we're always here to help. So let's do that. So the reason we went into this in great detail is because here are a couple things, and these are just some data that I shared with Mary Beth yesterday. So, and you all already know this, but this is just information that we're about to present, at a higher level. But, our rate of people that we have seen since December has increased by over 100%. So when you are growing at that fast a rate, we are really going to be making the case that for phase 2, that's what I'll say, because phase 2 is going to be powerful because we have the data now. We can show, thank you, Amber, and everyone who does a shift report that has the timestamps. Our phase 2 is it's gonna take the breath of some people away. I'm just gonna tell you, because once this data is powerful, and there is like no other part of the organization where just the volume of call, like all this stuff, we have the data, we can show it. And the phase 2 is going to just help us all around, everyone across the team, to keep up with how fast things are growing.
Hey, Art, share with them about the phone.
Oh, yeah. And so, like, we literally have the data to show at peak times, we get at least one call every 20 seconds during our peak time. So think about that. And it's really probably even less than that. But we actually have the data to show. There's no other part of the organization at any point during the day is getting one call every 20 seconds.
And you know what?
So that means that there was a call there, right there.
Right there, right there. Now, here's the other thing you got to think about. So I'm on a call. If the average call lasts,
I mean, I can even tell you that. So, like, this is the data. Like, average call lasts 93 seconds.
So then that means you've taken almost 4 calls.
That's right.
That means 4 people need to be answering the phone.
Right there.
Right there.
And it's like, we already know this, but we have the data and we can show it, and we are very data driven. And so this phase 2 plan is going to be powerful, and just wanted to give everyone a heads up. So we spent a lot of time talking about that. And so here's what I'd like for you to do. So, think about just like the scenario that we described, right? And I just want you to identify what's one just takeaway just from that scenario.
That's a good one.
Just one takeaway from the scenario we described. We shared it for a reason, but we would love to hear what your perspective is on just hearing that scenario. Just what's one takeaway that you have? Mm-hmm. All right, so now let's go to Relias Learning.
I love Relias Learning.
Yeah, I do too. So with Relias Learning, here is the goal, here is the deadline for everyone that is part of the Access team. So if you're part of the Access team, if you report to, actually, let me do more specific. If you report to me in any way, you must have all your Relias Learning done by June 15th. I'll say that again. If you report to me, all of your Relias trainings must be done by June 15th. The deadline is June 30th, but we're going to be done the 15th, and we're going to be like, we're done. That's it.
About 4 weeks.
That's right. You got 4 weeks.
And the important thing is that you're using your downtime, because if you wait till the end,
you're not going to do it.
Busy, and you're not going to be able to get to it.
That's right.
So
you got 4 weeks notice, June 15th. That's the action item. When is the Rise Learning deadline for anyone that reports to Art Fuller? Pretty clear cut. June 15th. Now, Mary Beth, let's talk about our IPU admission parameters, because we've been working with Christy Hogan. I'm going to show this up here on the screen.
So we shared this.
Yeah. And we just want to review it.
Yep.
And I'm gonna get you, you're gonna be like front and center. There
Okay.
you go.
Okay.
All right.
So it covers the BAL, okay? Dr. Singh is accepting BALs from 100 to 150, depending on case-by-case behavior of the client. For the most part, most people that are intoxicated, I mean, every once in a while, you're going to get somebody that may be difficult to manage, but that's not my experience.
Got it.
So no pain pumps, okay? Not at this time, pain pumps. No positive COVID clients, okay? Let's see, white blood count over 16, none of that. Additional testing, will be accepted. The vital threshold is blood pressure greater than 180 over 110 and less than 90 over 60. Heart rate greater than 120, less than 60. Respirations greater than 30, less than 12. And saturation rates at 90%. And then 2 liters for oxygen, people that are on oxygen. So then we reviewed the labs, the CBC, CMP, COVID screen, pregnancy test if female and appropriate, and urine drug screen. And then the blood alcohol level if there's alcohol on board. So the important thing is that, say, for example, somebody does have a high blood pressure of 180, greater than 180 over 110. Okay, what the doc is going to say is, hey, ask them if they can give them something for that blood pressure and retake it 2 hours later. That's not going to completely rule the admission out, okay? But so the important thing is once you get these labs back and you review them with the IPU nurse and you realize, oh, these are, not acceptable at this time, then you go back to the NP or the MD for further direction. And then you can give that further direction to union. Hey, we would be glad to take them. We need that blood pressure down. We need that white count improved a little bit, whatever it is.
So
Okay.
Mary Beth, this is important information because it is the admissions criteria, the guideline
Right.
for IPU, and we need everyone to be comfortable and familiar with it. We printed this out.
Yep.
It's readily available. It'll be part of this training. What is a simple action item you would give for that, Mary Beth?
So I would say the white blood count, okay? What do we accept, okay? Do not accept anything over 16, okay? And then the blood pressure, okay? Those would be 2 important things. What are those, okay? And then again, go back to the referring NP and the MD and collaborate with them, and then continue to collaborate with IPU. We don't want to completely rule this admission out if we think those vitals can improve within a reasonable amount of time. Sometimes they can't, okay? Sometimes there's too much acute medical going on that they're not going to be able to, we wouldn't be able to accept them.
Right.
But if we can accept them within a reasonable amount of time, we need to continue to work with union on that.
All right, so you all heard that simple action item. What are the 2 areas, above all
White
else?
blood count.
White blood count and blood pressure.
So that's really important for those folks that are reviewing all that you're actually reviewing all those specific items right there, before, you right when you get the labs off the fax.
All right, and if you have a question, you can phone a friend. You can ask a friend. Just ask.
Right.
And plus, you got a printout. Just look at the sheet.
Yep.
So we just want everyone to be familiar with that.
And I would print that out and make sure you have your own personal copy.
Yeah.
There are some posted around, but can't hurt to have your own personal copy.
So we meet with Christy Hogan every week, and we're just continuing to improve our communication with IPU. This is an important piece of it. So I just want you all to know that. And then we're almost done because I got to get on the road, Mary Beth. I got to go to the event. So I'm going to give the Bobby Ammerman update at another time because that has a lot of details on it. So, but let's just talk quickly about the call logs and then we'll be done.
We just want to start a campaign that we're documenting calls that come through. We know that you get busy, okay, but specifically calls that people call in and say they're sad, they're depressed, they're anxious, whatever they're presenting with symptoms, document those calls.
That's right, and that's part of the Joint Commission standards. This is a requirement, so
Yeah.
make sure you document it. And then the other thing with our master template, at the end of every shift, because we're having trouble sometimes with our shared, we have the access shared folder and the file disappears and then it reappears. So at the end of your shift, just send me the most updated version of the master call log. So that way I'll at least have a copy of it
Okay.
if for some reason something happens. We've had it happen 2 times over the last couple of, or 3 or 4 days, or probably maybe it's more like a week. And we just want to make sure we have an updated copy, so we have that. So just at the end of each shift, send the master call log my way. And then that actually to both me and Mary Beth, because then that way we can say,
Then I can
yes,
look
that's
through
right,
it, and
exactly.
then I'll see if there's any needed follow-up.
Yeah, so the scratch what I was just saying me, it's just to both me and Mary Beth at the end of each shift. So she can follow up with consumers,
Phone numbers are
all that kind of
important,
stuff.
ID numbers, names.
Yes.
Mhm.
So we appreciate everything you all do. We really are enjoying having our two new therapists on call, Sharon Galloway, Dana Glessler, and we already appreciate our existing therapists on call, like
Absolutely.
Deb Hodson, Dominique Jackson, and Lakeisha
Lakeisha.
Jackson. And so we appreciate you. We thank you for watching the video. We got to get back to work. See you
Hey, have a good
later.
weekend,
Yeah, have a
everybody.
good one.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, that was a lot.